Okay, so here we are. We have just made landfall in Ryde. Just a quick trip this morning. Done 7 miles East Cowes to Ryde, and now we are just arriving towards the centre. We're just coming out from the outskirts, so I thought, well, we'll put it on right now because you don't need to hear my voice for the last 20-25 minutes or whatever it's been. 28. This is a town with a lot of churches and cathedrals and spires, and one of the places where I do some work here, and I work with guys and girls with mental health issues, guys and girls with alcohol and drug related addictions, and one of the places that I do that is a place called Aspire Ryde. If you look up Aspire Ryde on Google, Ryde spelled R-Y-D-E, you'll find some information about that charity, and they do some great work, not just in this town but on the Isle of Wight as a whole. So there's one. That's not actually Aspire, but it's a rather cool looking building there, church. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn left down here, and as we turn left you should start seeing the big blue wobbly thing, as we call it, the sea. So let's just come around this corner, and there we go. There we have the sea. And it is a lovely little town, this one. It's actually one of my favourite towns on the island. It splits opinion because you've got quite a diverse social cross section here on Ryde. But the architecture here is fantastic, and I personally like to have that kind of cross section. If it's all posh or if it's all a bit downtrodden, it's no fun. I think towns are great when they've got a proper cross section of different classes of people, different kinds of people, a good mix, because I get on with all of them, whoever you are. As long as you're decent to me, I'll be good to you. Now, in this town, a lot of the architecture was done in Victorian times, and you'll see as you go around, you'll spot some of the buildings and some of that architecture, mostly done during Queen Victoria's times. Queen Victoria actually had a country house, a retreat not far from here, actually, where I live in East Cowes, called Osborne House, and she lived there while she was on the island. But it was her and her monarchy and her government who was responsible for a lot of the architecture which you're seeing now as we come through Ryde. So here we're heading down towards the seafront, and it's just a lovely I think it's a really positive looking place. I love it. I love the old architecture. I like Victorian architecture. Some of the buildings here are quite Art Deco as well. I love that Art Deco period. So just generally, I think Ryde is a really cool place to come. When you come down the pier, it's been rejuvenated quite a bit, but you can recognise quite a bit of 70s kind of style, 60s style seafront, English seafront, but it's not bad. There's a lot worse in Britain. You've got some towns along the in Britain that are just completely run down and really could do with knocking down and starting again. This is not one of them. It is a lovely little place. Show you some of the shops that we're going past. Nice hotel. There's a hotel coming up on the right, supposedly one of the posher places, called the Royal Esplanade Hotel. I have actually never been there yet, I really haven't. On the left side here, that's where the hovercraft goes to. You can take a hovercraft from there and it goes over to Southampton, gets you across in about 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and not too expensive. I think it's about a £5 return. Here's one of those kind of old seafront buildings that you often see in places like that. Look, the old pavilion, which is now a bowling alley. That could do with a lick of paint, I think, but it's kind of cool. That's the pavilion. Over there you've got a hotel. That hotel is called the Ryde Castle Hotel. As you can see, it looks a little bit like a castle with the turrets on top. I believe it burnt down some years ago and was rebuilt. And then you've got these typical Victorian buildings here on the right side along the seafront. Can't see much of the sea, which is why I'm kind of training the camera at the moment on that side, so you've got at least something interesting to look at. But we're only doing another 100 meters or so just down here, and then we're turning into the seafront proper, and we can take a look at that. We'll turn the camera around, I think, now. Let's see what's going on over here. So just at the end of those blue railings there, that's where we're going to turn left, and round we go. And this is tides out at the moment, but this is the Esplanade. And what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to jog along here, and then I think what we'll do is we'll go down to the end and we'll come back up this way. Maybe. It's not so easy to see on a trike for the fact that we're so low down and you've got a seawall all along here. But what I might be able to do is, when we get to places where there's gaps in it, I can kind of pull in and give you a little bit of a view from there. See if I can hit the screen and see what we can kind of see along here. I think we can hear some geese along here. Alright. There we go, one of the characters. He's got a cafe there. It's quite a nice little cafe actually. I sometimes stop and get some a snack and a coffee. Take my son there when we're out on the motorbike quite often. There's those geese. Looks like we've got some Canada geese. They're all returning from their hibernation. They all bog off when it gets too cold and miserable. Yeah, I don't blame them either. It's one thing if you're in Canada and you've got some nice snow, but we don't really get any down here. You just get rain and then the wind. They ruffle their poor feathers, so they decide that their feathers have got ruffled enough, and off they head back over to Canada, I guess. So here we're coming across what I think is the nice part of the seafront here. As you just jaunt up and left here, you come into quite a little picturesque area. And up here there is a good little cafe, and they serve a pretty decent full English breakfast if you're into those. I quite like a full English now and again. I shouldn't admit it on camera. If my wife hears it, she'll probably try and delete the video from the internet. I had a bit of bacon and egg. I don't eat as much as I used to. There was definitely a time when I ate so much bacon the pigs were demonstrating outside my door. Nowadays, however, that's not really the case, but here we can just give you a look. And if I could just jaunt along the walk here and kind of show you what I mean. Right, let me just stop. Maybe we'll just move over here so my legs are all out of the way. And that's kind of what I mean. You can actually see over there, there's a little turret sticking up. Rather a nice little tower over there. Kind of reminds me of one of those places they used to behead people. I don't think they did, or at least they don't anymore. So over there you've got a huge beach here, and I think this is a nice part of the beach. The great thing with Ryde and the Isle of Wight is it's not normally packed over here, even in the summer. I mean, you'll get people on here, but it's not normally packed out. And if you look across there, you should be able to see some of the big shipping vessels that are meandering along through the what is the Solent Strait. So that's the Solent Strait between Southampton and the Isle of Wight. And it's a beautiful day for it today, isn't it? I'm going to just move that camera right round so you can. Here we've got just 180 degree views, and it is absolutely beautiful, I think. And at this time in the morning, what time are we? 10 o'clock, 4 minutes past 10. This is a beautiful time to be out. Today we're supposed to have weather pretty much like this all the day. It's going to be sunny and cloudy at the same time. That looks pretty decent. So that is the seafront at Ryde, and I think what we'll do is we'll pop along towards the end there, and just to show you what that's like. And it really is just a bit special here. It's a nice little walk. I'm not sure again if I'm supposed to be on this path. I don't think anyone's going to mind as long as I don't run over their chihuahua. We should be okay. Make a carpet out of their Yorkshire Terrier. That wouldn't be ideal, would it? We'll go nice and slow so that we don't look like we're a motorised vehicle. Wave to everybody. Morning. It's not a bad day for it. No, beautiful, isn't it? Lovely. So, I do find, as I've said before, people are quite receptive to the trike. They don't seem to find it threatening. I mean, a lot of that, I guess, is the way you ride it as well, because if you're bombing along the place doing 35, 40 miles an hour on it and almost mowing people down, then they're probably not going to be too receptive to you. And you'll probably hear some words and see some signs which you may not have heard of before. There's this tower, look, and you really can get a good idea of that. Typical old English. I don't know what period that's from. I'm guessing it's Victorian, but it could be older, I don't know. I'm not particularly great at medieval architecture, but it's lovely nevertheless. Kind of would make a cool little summer house, wouldn't it? Here we are, coming round there. Some lovely wooded area up there, so obviously there's a lot of dog walkers about in this area, and this of course is a time of year when dogs are allowed on the beach. They're not allowed on the beach during the tourist season because they have a bad habit of depositing weird and wonderful stuff all over the place and refusing to clear up after themselves. And the owners are not great at that either, so they just kind of ban people or ban dogs from this area, or the beaches. Most of the beaches, I think there's still 5 or 6 beaches, smaller beaches, less touristy beaches, which you are allowed on with a dog during the main summer season. But this is not one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you as far as that cafe up there. I'll just show you that one because that's another very nice little cafe, which is worth going to. And again, this is a bit off the tourist trail here. A lot of people, you know, they come along to Ryde and they check into one of the hotels there, and they may not walk quite this far. But if you walk up here, it's worth the walk, because there's a decent little cafe, and it's a lovely walk along here anyway. Doesn't get much better than this on a morning like this. There we go, dogs. Hello, dog. Morning. Hello. There we go. And we're just coming up to that little cafe now. And this has just got a lovely little area here. Lovely, it juts right out into the water. When the tide's in, the water will be coming and lapping close to the cafe here. I might even stop in a minute and get a nice coffee here after I pop the camera off. There you go. That is called the Deli Cafe. It's a lovely little place. Decent cup of coffee in there and a lovely view. I'm just going to go up around here and just turn round. And then we'll be able to look at it from another angle. That's why I do my wheelchair roll backwards. Oops. And there we go. And from this cafe here again, you will have 180 degree views over the Solent Strait. Just fantastic. And there you go, just a very peaceful place, this, I think. Nice peaceful place with lovely views, nice walks and decent coffee.